Okay, this is How the West Brought War to Ukraine. This is a very slim, quick read, weighing in at, including the index, all of 75 pages. This very, like I said, very quick read, pretty straightforward, but this is a not totally fair, I don't think. I think this is still has a very strong pro-NATO leaning to it. And I think anybody who's followed this and knows about the Maidan coup and the Minsk 1 and 2 agreements and all the mercenaries and all the crazy stuff that's been happening in Ukraine, this is a very much intended for the general public kind of breakdown of Ukraine. And funny enough, some of you might remember, I talked about this a couple of months ago, where back in February, or actually, no, I'm sorry, like late March, early April of 2022, all of us with monetized channels got a letter from Google saying we would be demonetized and possibly get kicked off of YouTube if we presented this kind of viewpoint about Ukraine. So I found that very interesting. So anyway, but back to the book. So this is How the West Brought War to Ukraine by Benjamin Abelow. For an English major, I'm not always the best with names sometimes. But this was published in, and I apologize, I'm ill prepared. This is from 2022, so this must have been the latter part of 2022. But overall, this explains a lot of the lead up to the war and what was going on with NATO and what was happening behind the scenes with the coup and all that. Again, very much I don't want to say dumbed down, that's probably not the right way to put it, but a very kind of overly simplified view of some of it, but still very much like Russia's the bad guy. They did their full-scale invasion. It uses all the right language about that. But overall, if those of you who don't know a lot about that situation and you want a better understanding, this is a good kind of gateway drug for that, to understand that a little bit better. And there's one, I'll see if I can link to it at the end of this video. There is a RAND Corporation document that I also have, and I'm pretty sure I've reviewed it in the past, that surfaced around the time of, around early 2022, when the whole war went full blast, that came out, where Rand had made a report about how they wanted to basically wear Russia down with this kind of a guerrilla war, to basically weaken them to a point to initiate some kind of regime change in Russia. So essentially what we're seeing is basically another form of like color revolution in Russia. Now, I don't think a lot of that is going as planned. I don't think a lot of that's working on the scale in Russia that they had hoped, like they've gotten things to. I think Syria was kind of a tipping point. I think with the whole Syrian thing with the moderate rebels that turned out to be ISIS, I think a lot of people in the Middle East, and I think a lot of people worldwide, a lot of world leaders realized, hey, if we don't shut this down, we're next. So, and I'll link at the end of this, Subverting Syria is an excellent book that I think does a much better job than this as far as explaining how Western NGOs come in and create these color revolutions and how that sort of thing is instigated. And I talk a little bit about that in my review of Subverting Syria, because I reviewed that right around the time things were happening with Ukraine. So anyway, overall, this is a very quick read, but a good, again, if you're new to the topic, this is a good kind of overview of what was going on in Ukraine and what the issues are with NATO expansion and things like that. So, like I said, fairly more on the mainstream side of it, And it is very telling to me that since spring of 2022, we've had a crazy censorship of foreign media outlets. There's a lot of the news that I used to get from overseas, and I'm reluctant to mention too much of it, not anything super secret, but I don't want to get my channel in trouble just by saying some of that stuff out loud on here. But yeah, there used to be a lot more media outlets you could access, even Facebook pages for foreign governments and foreign militaries that you could access that are all gone now. So make of that whatever you will. But anyway, this is How the West Brought War to Ukraine by Benjamin Abelow, and this is from 2022. And it does bug me a little bit that they quote Noam Chomsky at the top. Very well done. Reviews material that should be better known. And I agree with that, but Chomsky, poor dude, he has really horribly discredited himself when he, in a rambling interview back in, I think, 2021 or so, was saying that unvaccinated people should be put in camps and basically alluded to them starving to death if they couldn't provide for themselves in these camps. So it's like, yeah, dude, you need to just shut it down and call it a day. But anyway, there you go. How the West Brought War to Ukraine.